savage, call me villain. I can see that you're about to fall. Take the risk now, treasure's calling. I can hear you running through my halls. Evil inside, kill my feelings. I could never be a pacifist. Palace towers, you are falling. Kinda feel like an antagonist.
Welcome back to the hood. Alright, so I recorded this maybe like a week ago. Maybe. I'm re-recording it because you can obviously tell that I was sleepy in the first one. So it's just, I can do better than that. We can do better to that together. You feel me? It's just not necessary to give y'all lackluster content. I can just remake the shit. So it's all right. So we're gonna I'm gonna tell the story with a more accurate description. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, so what happened last time? We lost my boy Kid. Rest in peace, Kid. Yep. He was a real one. Rest in peace to the big homie. He wasn't a big homie. Rest in peace to the little homie Chris. That's not his name. Kid. My boy Chris been crying. Still locked up in the room. That's his brother. F's in the chat for my boy. No, I'm joking. But yeah. Continuing on, where we at right now, We had a great site. We got my boy. We got the main cast. Izuku, Amelia, Aiden, Kai, Toga, Crystal. I feel like I'm forgetting someone, but that's okay. You understand what I'm talking about. We got all the main group. Madison, that's what I was thinking of. Anyway, and we just, looking down at the graveyard, the specific grave, you feel me? Seeing Inko Midoriya. Right next to that, we got Izuku Midoriya. Wait, I thought we was talking about you thought I was talking about Kit's grave? You thought that's where we was at? No, we don't care about Kit. We do not care about an individual named Kit. We don't even think about Kit no more. Kit's already out of here. All right, he had his funeral yesterday. He had his grave at the house somewhere. Talking about Kit. What y'all talking about? Kit. We can tell you in the story. We can be focused on Kit anyway. So, my boy, he looking at the grave, looking at his name on the other grave, and it's just another like resolution with him. Like there ain't no other options but to go through with it. This a disrespect to his mother, a disrespect to his name. He can't even think about anything else but the violence that's about to occur into the world. But he also knows that, you gotta take things slow. It's gonna slowly escalate, slowly build until it explodes. That's the hope. That's the goal. That's what he's moving towards. Y'all may be wondering why Izuku possibly still got individuals with him. Like maybe people would be out there, saying some things like, yo, he killing his own people. Hey guys, I don't know about this one. We might have to exit the establishment. You feel me? But a couple of different things is also happening after Kid's death, right? It hasn't been that long, but it's also been happening, right? We got people showing back up at the orphanage. Some of the people that have left earlier when I was saying when Jack left, right? Some of those people have came back. Now Jack's still gone, but that's besides the point. It's hard out there. There's not a lot of a lot, it's just, you either on the street or you in here doing this, and they'd rather be here doing this. And since, nobody else has been backstabbed by the main person that they following, it's just like, I guess, if it's that bad out there that they coming back here and they perfectly fine with running all the villain plays, if I go out there, it's not gonna be no different. So I'm gonna just stay up in here. Plus, right, and that's just one reason, right? Another reason is like even after the situation with Kid and they knowing Madison, right, and them knowing, and they know Toga too, like, but you know them knowing, uh, just some of the other individuals that's in his main circle, and they ain't said nothing to him. They don't even care. That's what they looking like. So it's like, dang, like we can really do whatever we want and continue. Nothing is lower. There ain't no, you know, like it's just reconfirming the like idea of like, you know, you can just go out there and do whatever. You can stay in here and do whatever. You feel me? Like if somebody had a problem with another individual in here, but y'all get it, y'all understand what I'm saying, right? So it's just a multiple of reasons why people are like, dang, like it's make like, you know, I know we villains, but at the same time, plus, you know, they know he got the whole harem going on right now. You know, come on now, that's like 5 different girls. No, I'm joking, but that's how it is from their perspective, from what they seeing, whether he got these women or not. It's like, yeah, he always walking around about like 3, 4, 5 different girls, man. I'm trying to get like him. You feel me? It's a whole bunch of different reasons for everybody. But you know, Izuku, after visiting his mom's grave, you know, he go back, you know, to the car. They still on a mission. You know, they got the suits in the cars. They put the suits on. You feel me? Drive to the location. Cause when Aiden was out there researching the situation with Shigaraki and that plan, he came by some information with a different individual, you know? And you know, the whole search, the whole like after you know the funeral, he been getting into context, studying the situation with these individuals. You feel me? Like, okay, so this what y'all got going on, kinda. He know where they located. They figured out that you know somebody was, you know, researching them with the hacks because they kind of big as a group. So then they out here sending out, you know, feelers too. They trying to find out what they doing, what they own, because you know, this other group like, look, y'all can just die. Y'all could just lose y'all life immediately, and nobody will think about it, you know. And you know, Aiden, you know, he had to play like, hey man, I'm trying to do some business. I thought y'all was cool with the business. Y'all ain't trying to make no money, save some money type activity. You know, he trying to play the long con. They said, you know what? Meet me here at this address real quick, man. Let's see. You feel me? That's what it was, and that's what they doing now. He's been told Izuku about it. They going to the address. They pull up, but like a regular house, regular house. You know, they get out the car. They go to the gate. All black suit. Open up the gate. You know, lead them inside. He ain't saying no words. They open up the front door. Dude in there too. Like, young, ain't they? Thought we was dealing with some more adult individuals, you know? You know, Kyle out here like, man, we grown enough. Show us what a boss says so we can get this business started. Cause you know, he know everything too. You feel me? He the loudest talker. You know it's Kai. You know what Kai be on. He's like, oh, okay, a little feisty brats. You might like y'all. He hit the little statue move. Flow open up in the middle of the room, in the middle of the hallway. They go down the stairs. You feel me? It's looking dangerous, so dangerous. Anyway, what am I doing? Anyway, you know, they get led down the stairs, following another dude they found. You feel me? They all in masks, just like, you know, Zuhu group, kinda. They walk up in there and they find the boss. They find the leader. Now the reason why the leader out here just out here meeting with random people like this is, first of all, I didn't know the if as far as I understand this character, he is overconfident as AF, man. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. He just extremely overconfident. There's no getting around it. He don't it's overconfidence and it's pride. He don't feel like he gotta learn shit at all. You feel me? But that's besides the point. They go in, individuals, they stand up, my boy, all of them. Izuku, he come in, he try to, sit in the front, but he also acting a little like on some timid activities, right? He trying to put a facade going. He trying to show that he ain't no one to go on. You feel me? Now, Chiaki, because that's what this is. This is my boy Overhaul. You feel me? Overhaul, Chiaki. He look at it. He look at his little. He give his boy a little head nod. That boy start asking questions. He said, "What quirks y'all have?" Instantaneously, they under some kind of hypnosis. First of all, not everybody that was in the car is in the building. All right, so there's some people that's still in the car. Right, Zuku is in the building. Kai's in the building. Amelia and Aiden are in the building. Everybody else is still outside. Just in case niggas want that backup. That's what it is. Just in case that backup needs to back up with the backup. Anyway, Aiden say his quirk, and what he uses it for, hacking. Obviously, Overhaul understands that that's the individual that hacked into their system immediately. But it'll only have to get bad if they don't listen to him immediately as well. So he ain't worried about it. Amelia, she got her quirk and she says the different things that she can do with it, which is basically just alchemy from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And it's just the main characters, if I'm being honest. But that's besides the point. We got Kai. He just wind, rotating wind as far as he understands it. And Izuku, who says he's quirkless. And obviously the fact that the quirkless individual, whether or not he was sitting timid or not, is sitting in the front. It's like, it makes him start like he start wondering some stuff. He like, what's going on with this? First of all, they sent somebody that was quirkless here. Is the whole group trash? Do they not care about anybody in this motherfucker? So he tell Izuku take off the mask. Izuku takes off the mask, and that's mainly just because he's the leader. Obviously, nobody else would have been that okay with taking off the mask if it was. You feel me? If anybody else would have been asked to. But Izuku specifically has his attention now because he's quirkless. And, he sat there and he was like, what's a quirkless kid like you doing here in a meeting between villains? And, Izuku, he's still kind of trying to show that timid side a little bit more. He's trying to show that shy side a little bit more. He like, man, I just I'm the scapegoat. And it makes so much sense hearing it. And it's like, dang, like, okay, makes sense. If the deal didn't go through and he got violent, it makes sense that they would put this pawn up first, kind of. And it's such a immediate, like, everything that he thought about this individual is correct. So it's like, okay, but that has to be the case. And even if it's not, it's something similar. So then he's like, okay, so you like your boss? You okay with being treated like this? And he's like, well, the boss, he's helped us. He's paying the bills. He got some food. I'm just here trying to make sure that the deal goes well. And if the deal goes well, then I don't have to worry about anything, right? it's also kind of bleeding into Chiaki's human side, even though he doesn't have one, or at least not much of one. So, he hears that and he's like, you feel me? Like it does like create a vision of if the deal goes well, then this kid will be all right. But then it's like, I don't care about this kid. The deal got to go well first. You feel me? I don't care about this. I don't care about this child. That motherfucker could go home and die to the boss, or he can stay here and die to me. That's just what it is. So we need to, because nothing was discussed beforehand. We need to discuss now. He continues and he's like, so how do you think your group, not your group, the group that you're in, can help or benefit us in the slightest? And if you don't have an answer, you might have to worry a lot less about your boss in a few minutes. And Izuku, he was like, okay, we have some cars. We like roaming around at night. We run around. Uh, we can trade, like, whatever you got. If you need to be sent somewhere, we can do that for sure. We have a lot of people that can make that happen. I think I'm pretty sure. I'm very close with the situation most of the time, and they gave me a lot of information before coming here. So from what everyone else has said, yeah, that's what we have. And at this moment, Chiaki starts looking back in the group. Right, he's looking at everybody else. Amelia, uh, hands behind her back, just like on some soldier activities. It feels like. Uh, Aiden's been looking around the whole time. Right, he doesn't know if he's got some kind of spyware in the glasses or the goggles or whatever, but he's been looking around. Just, I don't know. He can't fully tell, but he also knew that he got some hacker abilities, but he would assume that would have to go through the phone because that's how Aiden explained it when he did explain it. Right, it was like, yeah, I use my core has things to do with hacking. I use a catalyst like my phone or computer, basically. Right, that's what he was saying. Right, so he's assuming that he has to have a phone for that, and if there's like stuff in the goggles, then maybe, but he's also not too worried about it. He also seems young. Kai is like, he's fidgeting. That's pretty much what's going on with Kai. He's a bit like, he's over here. Obviously Shaki a doctor, not for all kinds of patients, but still a doctor. He might that motherfucker might got ADHD or something. You feel me? He just, then he looks back at Zuku, and it's just a timid kid, and he's just like, he doesn't know how useful these individuals are or could be, but he wouldn't mind running it. He wouldn't mind robbing all of them and everything else. He's really considering what the possibilities is for this situation. But at the same time, the business deal that they've offered isn't a bad one. You know. So he's like, so then he goes on, he's like, so you're okay like this? He's like, it's just like, okay, like what? He's like, you've been sent into the lion's den, kid, whether you realize it or not. You're in the heart of another villain's entire base. You have no clue what our quirks are or what we can do. You can't even fight to save your life. And you're okay with this. My boy, obviously shocking to see like the tears welling up in his eyes or whatever, in Izuku's eyes, because my boy an actor. Besides the point, but he's like, he's just like, look, I, if I'm being honest, I'm not, but I don't got nowhere else to go. There's nothing else out there. It's either this or dead on the street, and I'd rather try. Even through the tears, he looks at him with like just resolve, and that sparks respect in Chiaki. It's not even a matter of loyalty. It's just the will, the desire, the need to survive. So he stands up because he got what he wanted. And he says, come here. I need to show you something. And Izuku stands up, he starts following Chiaki. Everybody else starts trying to follow Izuku. We got a whole gang of individuals. They're like, nah, the boss didn't say he need all y'all. He was showing him some. He said, hold on. You just gonna about to take one of us and then we ain't about to cause no problems? Amelia put a hand on Kai's shoulder like, hey, if you don't come back, then we raise hell. And, that called off Kai. But it's also, it's also creating conflict and tension between the groups. Chiaki, my boy Overhaul, don't kill him until I say so. Which is a very menacing threat. Now Izuku don't know if he gotta pull this blick out. You feel me? Because they ain't check for no weapons at the door. Niggas always think it's just the quirks. Nah, I got the blick. It's always the blick on me. He thinking about pulling the blick out, but he also trying to just see where it goes. Like he said, like Overhaul said, he don't know what that quirk is. What any of these quirks are. So walking down this corridor, Overhaul shows him a couple different rooms. And, basically it's just about the things that he'll be transporting, right? The different drugs that activate quirks, make the quirks go, to 10,000. Drugs that make the, yeah. Okay, yeah. Drugs that make the, ability a little bit worse. Just makes you, just makes you have less control over it over time. You feel me? Just different Overhaul's products basically. He's just showing them around, and this is what Izuku. This is what Izuku's bosses in quotation group will be shipping out to different locations, right? And if any of the motherfuckers is late, he gonna pull up on them. You feel me? That's what it's just threats after threats after threats or whatever, right? They get to a cross section, and a girl accidentally runs into Izuku, and falls down because even though Izuku wasn't, he wasn't he didn't know what was going on. He wasn't paying attention, but he's also not about to fall down. So he looks down. He's like, "What a kid?" Like 3 different spikes pull up and almost stab Izuku. He can't even move. And Overhaul walks up and he says, "Eri, what are you doing out of your room?" And she's so fucking terrified immediately. Won't even respond. Immediate cries. And, it's not like Overhaul on some abuse a child just to abuse a child activities. But obviously we know what he be on. It's research for the drug, the new drug he trying to use or whatever. It's fine. Izuku looks around. He's starting to understand the situation a little bit more, kind of. He just thinks Overhaul is abusing her. But who else who wouldn't think that in this situation? And even because the spikes aren't touching him for one, and also aren't in any way going to be affecting him now that they have stopped moving. Yeah, he just leans down and is like, "So who's the kid?" As he reaches out and try to touch her. He's like, "Don't touch her." And Izuku he's still playing the part, and this is dangerous. But he's also like, it depends, right? And he's like, "Man, she's just a crying kid. What's the problem?" And picks her up and is like, "We could just bring her back to the room." This, instantaneously, Eri, it feels like she's gonna calm down a lot more because she recognizes this is somebody that doesn't really know what's going on. And so because of that, whether or not this is, somebody else is about to be watching her or not, and making sure she don't escape is besides the point. But just because she doesn't know what's going on for real, she feels like it's her responsibility to like make sure that he doesn't die because of her. You feel me? So she like throws herself off of him and lands on the ground and is like, I'll just go back to my room. I'm sorry. It runs off. You feel me? And, Chiaki, the only reason why he hasn't killed this kid is because he's quirkless. That's it. That's the only reason, right? Because in his mind, this quirkless individual isn't worth anything. It's not even worth to hide this body that he's about to catch. If he keeps walking around here like he owns the place, it's really just like, it's not even that he's doing all that. He's being regular. You feel me? And him being regular isn't enough. That's just what it is. It's just not enough for Chiaki. He would have wanted him to be cowering in fear more than just being regular. But he also respects the audacity slightly, which is why, he walks up and all these thoughts are playing in his head. As he walks up, he, puts his hand out like he's about to destroy Izuku. Izuku backs up into the wall. He then puts the hand on the wall, creating like a spiked cage that, surrounds him, Izuku specifically. And it's like, Eri is the key specimen to my next breakthrough. He stares deeply in Izuku's face. The cage that Izuku's in kind of getting a little bit tighter. If you even breathe on her, I'll separate both your arms and legs from your torso and have you crawling around here while you bleed to death. Do we have an understanding? And it's all clear to me. I'm joking. But for real though, that's what it seemed like, it's like, Zuko over here like, yes, sir. As the spikes retract back into the wall and he's like, good. Now follow me. Your visit is over. So they walk back to the group, or Izuku's group, back in the meeting room or whatever. And yeah. Zuko gets back to his group fine. They're allowed to leave. You feel me? They'll be here. Somebody will be here in a next couple of days to, load up the stuff and drive it to the location. So yeah, they get back in the car. Madison out there, or Madison. She trying to find out, what happened, what's going on, and that's when my boy Izuku explained not only what's going on, what he thinks going on, and the plan. They get home, and in order for the plan to be what it needs to be, you gotta put in the effort now. You gotta do what he gotta do. So one of the first things he about to go visit Chris, Kid's brother, deceased Kid's brother, Chris, twin brother. What's that? We're brothers. We're happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five. Anyway. But yeah, if you ain't heard that, then you probably my age. I only heard about it from my parents. So Izuku knocks on Chris's door, and then he enters because there was no response. And Chris looks up and is immediately scared. It's a dark room, but this isn't Izuku's fault. It's Chris. He wanted to be here in the dark. Only source of light is his TV that's on, and it's not even on anything. It's a black screen, so it's just showing basically there's no signal in the TV. Besides the point, he enters and he's like, "Can I speak with you?" And you know, Chris's immediate first thoughts is like, oh, you gonna kill me too because I'm not working. And Izuku's like, it's not even the reason why I killed your brother. It was honesty, loyalty. As he sits down in a chair, and I wouldn't kill you just because you didn't want to work for me. And Chris, he's shaking, kinda, just not knowing what to say, not knowing why he's here. You know, he don't even he's thought about leaving, but where would he go? Back to the street, back to stealing. And Izuku, he's really trying to navigate the conversation. He's trying to see where Chris is at mentally before getting what he wants from him. Because ultimately, all of these characters to Izuku are just tools. None of them are important to him. Pretty much. Almost none of them. There's some exceptions. And even to those exceptions, they're just more useful tools. Chris, he's like, I just feel like if I would have kept my mouth shut, if I just didn't say anything, then he would still be, that is my fault that, and Izuku's like, no one should ask you to lie for them. I guess that's the reason why he didn't. If nothing else, that's at least one good brotherly act that he did for you, besides taking care of you all this time. And, it's like, Chris is kind of put off, because it's like, is he trying to big up his brother after killing him? And why would you even need to do that? Like, so he's like, what? Like, he didn't expect the conversation to go like this. Like, this is like, it's weird that it went this route. To him, like, showing respect to his brother. And he was like, first of all, we respect the dead around here. And he was one of us. Believe me when I say that no part of me wanted to kill him. But a standard had to be set. I needed to prove something. And that's why he died. If you can't handle that, that's okay. But if you're willing to, then I've got to work for you. Obviously, Chris wants more information than that. And he's also not trying to, he's still in the depression. So it's just, but ultimately what's bothering him beyond all of that, right? Beyond everything, beyond his brother dying, beyond everything that he could have been upset about. One of the only things that he's been wondering, how, he asks this out loud. It piques Izuku's interest. He's like, how could you kill Kid? I mean, he was a fighter. He was really like, I thought there was a we had this conversation where it was a possibility that he'd be right there with you, like your right hand or something, because of how similar him and Kai is. But beyond that, he was so much more useful, so much more ready to do anything, to continue the fight, the goal. And how could you make that decision so easily? Now Zuko thinks about it, and he says, well, if you want the truth, it's because I still had you. And obviously, this is like manipulation that's so easily recognizable. Chris isn't even thinking about that shit. He said, what? Me? I'm the most timid individual here. I can't even do the same things he could do. He made whole portals. You could have done anything. You could have went anywhere. You didn't even, all you had, what? Me? I can barely teleport myself. And he's like, you could do just as much, if not more, than your brother. You aren't less than your brother. You're just as strong as he is. You're just as great as he is, as he was. And yes, I didn't want to kill him. Yes, he was. He had the potential to be my right hand man, of sorts. But one thing you can't measure is loyalty. One thing you can't measure is honesty. You won't ever be able to accurately depict somebody else's. And even though I know lying is rampant and that I won't be able to stop it here, at the very least, if I can control the amount of information that is brought to me from a mission and it's through fear, then I'll do that. Are you going to lie to me about a mission that I sent you on? And like, Chris isn't even thinking about that. He's like, is he truly? Is like he responds. He's like, do you truly think that I can be even slightly more useful to you than Kit? And Izuku responds, and he's like, I think whether Kit and you lived, as long as you gained an awareness for yourself and stopped measuring yourself to him, you could have been so much more superior than him. And that is the nail in the coffin. Now, Izuku doesn't know this, but he picked up slightly on the conversation where, like, Chris kind of got some kind of inferiority complex when he came to his brother. Now, the backstory about it that, Izuku doesn't know, neither does anybody else, is that their parents was going to kick out Chris. But Kit ran away with his brother. So that's the reason why they were on the street in the first place. But because of the amount of downplay that they did on Chris's name, it was just one of the reasons where it was like, okay, I must really be less than this nigga. You feel me? He internalized it. He believed it truly, and he was like, yeah, this must be the case, especially since he made such a hard decision so easily to run away and live on the street and steal food for himself and his brother. Never treated him different. Never treated him aggressive. And yeah, he might have had a lying problem, probably, right? But all of that in his heroics of the situation, his just to survive feeling that he had, it just made Chris so much more jealous. It felt like it proved everything his parents felt about him, about his situation, about him being less than his brother, about everything. But he couldn't tell that to Chris. I mean, he couldn't tell that to Kid. He was, that was, for one, that was his brother, and for two, he was helping the both of them. So he internalized it until now. And, he stands up. Zuku's still sitting in the chair, and he's like, what do you need me to do? And we're going to cut from that, right? Straight back to the main characters, right? Big Bakugo in 1A with Dakota. So people in the area, they talking, communicating, they having fun, talking to each other. And Ito would have came in, he on his regular shenanigans. Everybody sit down, blah blah blah. Everybody was already sitting down, so then he sit down. You feel me? Aizawa show up, wrapped up in bandages, completely bandaged up. He all the way bandaged. All that damage that he took from that Nomu. And he started announcing the sports festival. It's a sports festival. You got to lock in. It's gonna be a whole lot of heroes. You got this your time to prove yourself. Instantaneously, Uraraka, excited, ready, really about that action, excited. Bakugo, he like, he trying to be number one hero. It's time to lock in. You feel me? It's pretty much going the same way it would have normally gone in Dakota. Instead of being like Deku, It's just, he's excited with everybody else. Not as excited as Ochako is, but everybody excited at the end of the day. They locking in. They try, oh yeah, bet time to do this. You feel me? Next day roll around, and all the different classes pull up to class 1A because these individuals, they must think they better than us. They must think they're better than us. They out here, they ain't even stressing. You know what? I'm gonna get the number one spot. It's gonna be me. You know what? It's gonna be me and my class. Yup. We gonna be the last. Y'all not even gonna get into the last round. Dakota get up there. He like, hey man, y'all, what y'all even doing up here, man? Let's say that for the tournament. Y'all out here, y'all doing too much. You feel me? Oh, Chaco. She out here like, man. She would have been more along the lines of what everybody else would have been on. Like, these they like, it's like we public enemy number one. Like, dang, what's going on? You feel me? Dakota would have been, continuing to try to like, de-escalate the situation. Bakugo would have walked up, cut through the crowd. Was like, hey, and he's like, whoever is the best should be number one. And if you think you're the best, then this is your time to show it. He walks out. You feel me? Before he even walks out, though, Shinso come in. He's like, that's a nice speech, Bakugo. But understand this. I'm declaring war on all of 1A. And then he walk off, too. Everybody walking off. You feel me? It's just a whole lot. It's just, this is what happens when you see a whole bunch of people trying to fight for the aura. You feel me? Niggas trying to get the aura points. They trying to see the aura. We don't care about your aura, big bro. That's exactly what this is. Niggas trying to fight for the aura too hard. Niggas trying to see the aura. Trying to get the HUDs. The HUDs don't even care about your aura anyway. But yeah. That's the situation that's going on with in the story. You feel me? Bakugo and Shinso, they about to be about that action. And genuinely, I think I should end it here, man. I think I could tell the rest of, I think it should be ended here. I think I did enough. It wasn't as many cool moments this episode, but that's okay. We had some decent ones. We had some ones. And that's just me looking at it from my perspective, you feel me? But that's okay. Not every episode a banger. But that next one, nah, don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm gonna see y'all. Appreciate y'all for being here. Thank y'all for, thank God for allowing me to be able to do this. Remake the story, edit it, get it out on time. You feel me? That's the move. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate y'all for watching.